They did a study at Tate Modern in London, where the average time people spent looking at an artwork was 17 seconds. And so, of course, some were longer, some might have been a minute or two, but if you think some of those artworks would have taken 10 years to complete, and if someone is to look at it for, 30 seconds, it's like, oh, really? Like, was that worth it? Like, is it? So that, like, once I heard that, I was sort of, it made me think as well. I was like, I want people to look at my work for at least 2 or 3 minutes. So my name is Botha. I'm a contemporary illustrative artist living in Melbourne. My art is about drawings, but it's mixed media work, so it's quite experimental. It's not your usual illustrations. It's more towards fine art. So there's academic art, right, which is like people who studied art and they know all these big words and stuff, and when they talk about art, I think no one really understands so much of what they're thinking and what they're saying so much. That's one thing about my art which I think is good, is like it's pretty simple because I didn't study art. So I didn't know about all these big terms and techniques and words and like this sort of thing. So my art is for normal people, like people can understand it. Hopefully profound, but yet simple. The pursuit of happiness is important in my work. I think everyone's looking for happiness and trying to find their place in society and how do we fit in. It's sort of this eluding thing that we all think, oh, we're going to be happy one day, or we're going to find that, or we're going to do this, and like, but it's almost never really found. It's is anyone ever going to say, yes, I had a really happy life? But at the end of the day, it's also about cultural unity and how we get together and how do we interact and how do we sort of make this beautiful picture and colors together as a society. And I like for people to be happy and smile. I use a bit of humor in my work to break the ice. And also I want people to feel connected with the art. I often use materials that I find or newspaper clippings or something for where the art is for, to make people relate to it. I want people to connect with the art and to not have that separation of elitist art where, like when you go to galleries, you're not supposed to touch the artwork, which I can understand, but I would actually like people to touch my artworks. I make them quite tactile, and I seal them very well so they won't get damaged if people touch them. And it's amazing how many people wouldn't dare to touch it, even though there's a sign next to it that say, please touch the artwork. It's like, no, I'll touch it. It's like, no. It's like, yeah, I'll touch it. It's my artwork. I can tell you. It's like, you can touch it. So I want to break down that barrier between people. Most people don't feel that art is something for them. It's something for rich people or something in museums or art galleries. But art is everything in life. It's the way we dress, we walk, and art should not be such a special thing. It should just be normal things, like everything we do could in a way be art as well. So there's a big element of grouping in my work. So we're all parts of groups in society, so that's part of how we work. We have social groups, sports groups, art group, or whatever kind of group you have. The people make these words because we make the world. We make Australia, we make we make Melbourne, we make anything. So the words will not be there if it wasn't for us. Melbourne is just a place, but without the humans, it's nothing. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's here or not. The weird thing people can say is like, whatever I do doesn't make a difference. It's like, no, it does. Like, if everyone says that, we're just like completely screwed. Like, of course it makes a difference. Like, everything makes a difference. Every little thing you do now is going to make a difference to hundreds of people in 10 years time, or 100 years time perhaps. So I came up with this idea of doing that as an artwork. And so this story works is about making decisions, and then your decision has a next step, and then again you have maybe like 2 or 3 decisions to make. And sometimes you don't have a decision, you just go, like, I just think of something to do next. And but basically there's different outcomes to this story. So there's different outcomes. Sometimes you go to heaven, you go to hell, sometimes you just like become the president, or sometimes you just something happens. So there's different sort of outcomes. It's a bit funny as well. So this guy ate a bird, and then I was just sort of feeling a bit like, this guy's gonna just go downhill. So all these things went really wrong with him. Like, the worst things happened to him. He like lost limbs, and like it didn't go very long before he was just dead. But that was sort of just a really bad decision that he made, was to eat that bird. And that work is called Don't Eat the Bird. I have a baby now, a 10-month-old baby, and so people ask me, so is she going to be an artist? And it's like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to necessarily tell her to be one. I'm not going to even encourage her, but I will encourage her to be creative. I think that's really important. She can be a creative, anything creative. I don't know, creative doctor is probably a good idea, but like you can be, there's a lot of professions you can just be creative in and just be yourself. Yeah, you can be creative and not be an artist. That's basically what it boils down to. Just be free with yourself and just think laterally, and don't laugh at people who's different. Like we all sometimes do that. It just breaks down those possibilities for people to just broaden the spectrum of life a little bit, and we all sort of just become like really narrow, and like it's sort of just whenever we laugh at someone who's just walking or dressing a bit differently, and it's like, no, they're just doing their thing, they're just being themselves. They're not weird necessarily, or I mean they might be weird, but they're just being themselves. So just bear with them, and just, yeah. They might be laughing at you for looking normal, but they're not, so yeah. So yeah.